Hi guys, welcome back to another Star Wars figure review. Next we're going to take a look at one of the figures in the Black Series that was re-released as part of a big wave in the line, and this character in question is from the show Star Wars Rebels. And if you haven't already guessed by the title, it is Kanan Jarrus, the main Jedi of the group, sort of the older one of the Ghost crew. But before we look at that, we'll take a look at the packaging. This one came in. This is, of course, the re-release, reissue variant in the updated Black Series packaging, 100% recyclable, of course. On the side there, we do get the mural picture of Kanan Jarrus from the show Rebels. Of course, you can get all the other members of the crew: Hera, Ezra, etc., etc. There was a full wave that included them all, so you can get a full mural on the side with all the characters. And of course, Rebels has gone for the purple scheme, as each episode has its own specific numbered line of figures. This character being number 4 in that line itself. There's a good picture on the back there of Kanan Jarrus. It's the same as the one on the mural, but just a bit easier to see, just a more flat version of it. But they're good. It's really good there as is. Of course, there is the bio, so if you want to pause the video and read that now, you can. But there's plenty there to get from that. And as I said, the packaging's 100% recyclable, and it's just really good packaging, especially with the purple scheme for Rebels has been good too. So it's good to see this packaging getting good use from what it is with the figures that it has. But we now move on to Kanan Jarrus, or Caleb Doom, if you're being specific to who the character is, because that was his name he went under before the Order 66. And of course he appeared in the book with Hera Syndulla following that, sort of followed his adventures, because he was the Jedi Padawan of Depa Billaba, I believe her name was, who had you may know her as someone who had a small cameo in The Phantom Menace during the Jedi Council scenes. And Caleb Doom himself even had a cameo at the start of the Siege of Mandalore arc via hologram, as the two are seen communicating very briefly with Mace Windu, Plo Koon, Yoda, etc., etc. And then, of course, Order 66 happened, Caleb Doom escaped, and he then changed his name to Kanan Jarrus. Of course, this is based off his seasons 1 and 2 of Rebels appearances. This is indicated mainly by there's just most of the features around there. That was the version that was released originally back in 2016. This was reissued in this line to get a full crew. You can also tell by the facial sculpt as well, as this is his original face, because of course at the end of season 2 he was blinded by Maul in a duel, and then basically in between seasons 2 and 3 he outgrew his facial hair, let that grow out, and then he was often wearing sort of something to cover his eyes most of the time, but he often had sort of the blind look whenever he had it off, so that was sort of what he had there. And then of course later on in season 4 he then reassumes the name Caleb Doom, and he makes himself look as he did beforehand, so that was something else to see. And it's also indicated by the armour he's wearing, because he's wearing something sort of forged, it looks like it's forged out of clone armour that he's done on the side for this arm here, and he's sort of given him his own marking on it on the shoulder. I believe that's just for the ghost and what it is there. It's a good mark there. Of course, he's got the other side is just sort of the gear he's wearing, just sort of disguising the fact that he's a Jedi, because he wouldn't want to just walk around the galaxy in Jedi robes given his state of play. But he's a great figure nonetheless. I think he's an excellent addition, and it was good to get a second chance to pick this guy up, having not got him the first time around. So that was something there. If you're someone who's planning to collect the entire Ghost crew, I know someone who has, so he's got the full set now as a result of that, because you can get all the characters: Kanan, Hera, Ezra, Zeb, Chopper, Sabine, and Ahsoka, so you can get that full lot of characters. The only one we haven't got yet is a Rebels of Rex. I'd love to see that in Black Series form, because we've got the Clone Wars version of Rex. I'd love to see him in Rebels like that. But we've got on the accessories now. We do have Kanan's blaster. This is basically similar to the blaster that Han uses in Return of the Jedi to shoot at the Sarlacc while saving Lando. It's also the same as the one that Luke, because Luke calls one to him when he's in Jabba's palace. You might remember from the film, Luke Skywalker calls one over and he attempts to shoot at Jabba with it, and then that's got there. I believe that was included with a Luke Skywalker figure around that, but I don't have that Luke. But this blaster does fit into his holster nicely there, so you can have him with just the lightsaber if you so wish. The lightsabers are really good sculpt as well. I really am glad to have this one among my collection there, because I just think what they've done with it is just honestly getting it down to that detail is really really good. I like the way in the show, because the show actually showed this as a sort of two connected two parts. The first time we see Kanan use it, it's actually this top part actually disconnects, and then he connects it to the sailor, and then walks out towards the battlefield, towards the troopers with it, thus revealing his Jedi status. We can remove it there. There's a full look at it without not connected onto his hand. It's really good there. You got this little part here, which I'll show in a minute. The blade can of course come off, as simply put there, quite easily, not too badly, it doesn't snap. There's a little clip on the back of Kanan's belt, so you can have him with it clipped into place, as he does in the show, just sort of behind him there. So that's sort of as he hides his status. So if you wanted to just display him with the blaster, you could do just that. You can have him with that on its own, and have him just displayed like that. I'll go back to the facial features again. I just think because Hasbro have applied the photoreal face onto this, as they have done with most of their figures in recent years, and it really does go through in with this really well, because of course Kanan he's voiced by Freddie Prinze Jr. in the TV show, but he's not actually played by a physical actor, so he hasn't really got a specific face to follow on there. He's one of the only ones that he's one of those characters that hasn't yet been brought back into live action yet. Ahsoka's really the only one, and Bo-Katan cries as well, but I don't think we will now get Kanan in live action. So this is just what they've done with the animated style. So they've done a good job in incorporating the photoreal to Kanan Jarrus here. I think they've done an excellent job. So really it gives the figure all it's worth for what it needs to be. I'm just putting the lightsaber back in a sec to have the blade back on. That was something else I was bringing around in it, because I've just taken the thought of that is just the dull weathering that they've also put on the hilt really helps it look as out as it has been, because obviously Kanan's not used it, so it's like it's sort of gathered, it's half gathered dust while being on his belt or in hiding over the years, because of course Rebels is 5 years before Rogue One, so that's when it begins. So obviously he's not really been using it that much for the 14 years since Revenge of the Sith. So it's had that sort of, it's gathered a little bit of dust, but it's still sort of usable. Run down the articulation, we have a ball jointed neck, ball hinged shoulders and elbows, ball hinged wrists, ball joint at the torso, which is all the way up here, which is quite rather stiff, feels more swivel like, but it's supposed to be ball jointed. Ball jointed hips, swivel thighs. Because this is a re-release, we do get the double joints at the knees, and we get the ball joint rocker at the ankle. So that's always good to have with these figures. So Kanan Jarrus has the thing there, and I've just dropped the blaster. Here it is. Excuse me, it fell out of his hands, so I'll just stick it back into place. So yeah, I mean he's a worthy character. He's the only one from Rebels I have in the collection right now, at least Rebels original, because I do have Thrawn as well. So yeah, he's the only character who originated in Rebels that I have in my collection. As I said, Thrawn, I do have Thrawn as well, but of course he originated in the Thrawn trilogy, not Rebels. So that's not but yeah, he's the only main Rebels character I have from the Ghost Crew so far. If I feel like getting some more of the characters, I will get them and add them to the collection. But Kanan is a good first starting point for this line. He's a very good figure. Just want to take a full look down at the character, just all the little parts on him from there. And it would be nice if Hasbro do release a season 3 and 4 variant of Kanan Jarrus, which is, as I said before, he's let his facial hair grow out. He's kind of a homage to Ram Kota, his season 2 appearance. I feel like the character alone was a homage to Ram Kota. Like when I started playing this game, when I started watching the show, I was heavily reminded of him. Ram Kota, if any of you listening, he was a Jedi Knight who survived Order 66 in Legends, and he appeared in The Force Unleashed. Initially as a Jedi, he had to kill, but it's shown that he survived his incident, his brush with death. So he comes back later on. He comes back later on in the game as a guide, mentor character, and he helps out as the game goes on. So that is Kanan Jarrus from the Black Series, the reissue variant. Hope you enjoyed looking at him. Do drop a like on this video if you enjoyed it. It's a great figure. I think it's worth picking up. But yeah, do drop a like on this review if you enjoyed it. Leave a comment, subscribe for more so you know when I've next uploaded a figure. But I should be sure to see you next time.